This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey, Tally.
Shh, Evie, the mount-off is about to start. I need to be ready.
Okay, sure. I just need to talk to you real quick. Apparently, our mortgage didn't go out yesterday, and when I checked our account, it turns out there's no money in there.
Oh no, that's terrible, but I really need to listen to what mount gets announced, just in case it's Maurice, which is basically the only mount I own.
Yeah, about mounts you own. You didn't spend a whole bunch of money on something stupid, did you?
Who, me? No, I don't think so. Just groceries and our WoW subs and new Bruce one.
What was that last one, Tally?
Nothing, just new Bruce one.
Tally, I'm gonna say it. Did you buy the new store mount?
What? The new brutosaur?
Yes, Tally.
The one that costs more than the actual game?
Yes, Tally.
Even though I already have a brutosaur that I worked really hard for in-game and I'm very proud of.
Yes, Tally.
The new brutosaur with the auction house and the mailbox on it.
Yes, Tally.
Of course I bought it.
Tally!
It's got a mailbox on it!
We're getting evicted, Tally!
But I can send mail from anywhere now! I mean, not inside, but anywhere else, as long as I can mount there, obviously.
Fine. You bought the brutosaur. Fine. What are you going to do now that you have it?
What a silly question. I'm going to sit on it right outside the auction house in Donegal, of course.
Of course.
Oh, look, there's actually a mailbox here too.
Knowledge is power.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset. Taliesin and Evitel's wondrous wisdom show in a week where, after the excitement of the 20th anniversary patch launching last time out, this week I think it's fair to say we've come back down to earth with a bump, with reactions to the patch being a mixed bag, but there being a whole lot more frustration, anger, and general disappointedness than anyone would have been hoping for, least of all Blizzard. And so we've got to ask, is patch 10.0.5 a letdown? Or, to put it in proper internet language, did 11.0.5 fail? We've got a new store mount which is causing celebration and rage in equal measure, and you know, if you think you've heard it all before with store mounts, oh, I promise you, you haven't. I promise you, this one is its whole own thing, and it deserves to be talked about, and we're gonna talk about it. So, lots to be getting on with, but let's start with a rundown of all the week's other news with Evitel.
It's time for Evie's News Rundown. Let's run down. As if the 20th anniversary celebrations weren't enough. Oh, wait, they're not enough? Okay, that sounds like a Tally segment problem. I'm just trying to do a rundown here, okay? Get off my case. Hallow's End has kicked off in-game and runs through November 8th with all the usual spooky fun and a brand new top-tier reward from the Headless Horseman Encounters loot-filled pumpkin drop. The patched Harvest Golem Transmog Ensemble is a recolor of last month's Ragged Harvest Golem trading post set. I might go as far as to say it is the superior version and represents a legit, genuine reason to farm the Horseman every day on multiple characters. Yay! Really been looking for a reason to do that again. Far less time-consuming and soul-crushing are the 4 new cosmetics you can buy with your tricky treats. The corresponding claw and back piece to go with the new Scarecrow set, the sick new shoulder cape model, and best of all, the Ring Wraith style Prowler's faded headgear, which is another must-have, right? Damn you, Hallows, and just when I think I'm done, you pull me back in with your sticky, tricky treats. But wait, how do I get the tricky treats? We'll be linking Wowhead's Hallow's End guide in the description below, so you'll have treats up to your teats for those sweet transmuggy beats. Patch news, and one excellent change that's popped up in 11.0.5 is that raid skips now appear to be account-wide. Just another reason why warbands are basically the best feature ever. Now, any raid which features a skip, and that's basically any raid since Warlords of Draenor, will have that skip open to any of your characters as long as you've unlocked it fully on one of them. This is a dream come true for legacy raid transmog collectors and mount farmers, as it allows your army of degenerate loot vacuums to all skip to the later bosses of an instance for the good stuff. Let me put this into terms you can all understand. You don't have to kill ENR anymore. Hours will be saved, which can then be spent on farming the same instance again on a different character. Also, we are going to link the Raid Skip Tracker add-on in the description, which will tell you which skips you've already unlocked, because we are good to you. We treat you right. We tricky treat you right. We sticky tricky treat you right. Don't forget that there are 3 new excellent glyphs available in 11.0.5. The Shaman Glyph of Energetic Ascendance, which will set your goofy elemental troll hair free from the new Ascendance form's boxy little helmet, and Glyph of Jab makes monks use their held weapon as part of their palm strike attack. 2 absolute top-tier glyphs that we've seen many people express dismay that they can't find on the auction house for some reason, and hence this segment to remind you that they are not available from the auction house but from in-game vendors. Flamesmith Lanying in the Shaman Order Hall will give you your Syndrome look, while number 9 Gia in the pre-Legion Peak of Serenity, speak to Zoradormi, will sell monks the Glyph of Jab. 500 gold a pop, but remember, you need to apply a glyph to each spec, so if you want your flowing mane on Enhancement, Elemental, and Restro, for example, you'll need 3 glyphs. I could have saved myself some trips to Kunlai Summit if I'd known that earlier. And I know you are all super busy with the anniversary content right now, but it seems it might already be time to look ahead to new content already. Blizzard have announced a new Warcraft Direct stream for November the 13th on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, promising a celebration of Warcraft's 30th anniversary and WoW's 20th anniversary, but also surprises and a look ahead at what's next. So, I mean, it's gonna be an 11.1 reveal, right? Definitely an 11.0.7 reveal for sure, but also an 11.1 reveal, right? Probably a cinematic to sizzle us in, like with the Return to the Forbidden Reach reveal. 11.0.7 and 11.1 are already encrypted on the PTR, so all of this seems very likely indeed, in my opinion. Also, WoW devs are all over social media saying we shouldn't miss this, and I tend to take that kind of excitement seriously. So you can bet we'll be watching this live on our Twitch channel. Come and join us. After the WoW Direct, there's also going to be a showing of the WoW Anniversary Concert in Switzerland, which we were at. And I can confirm it's emotional and beautiful and also very loud, and you definitely want to watch it while you think about 11.1.
2 main stories today, and the first is patch 11.0.5, the anniversary patch and the community reaction to it. Because the event is now live, and you've probably already jumped into Tanaris and immersed yourself with all the celebratory fun. Did you? Did you immerse yourself in all the celebratory fun? I bet you did on the first day at least, right? Have you really touched it since? No, me neither. And that might be a problem. But first off, an apology. In our last video, when we were giving a breakdown on the amount of bronze celebratory tokens that you could earn in a week, we wrongly included daily quests and sources in our numbers for the first couple of weeks. You will have noticed if you swung by the event that actually, no, there are no daily sources available currently. There will be once you've collected a total of 100 bronze and snagged the Token Collector achievement, which then unlocks those daily sources. But, you need 100 bronze for that, so my bad, sorry about that. Everything in that video will be relevant and useful in a couple of weeks, but for now, it is only the weekly sources which were awarding bronze, which is basically nothing, as we shall see. So, my personal experience of the 20th anniversary event, I loved arriving there and grabbing onto a balloon and flying around and just seeing everyone together having a nice time. That gave me warm fuzzies in my tummy. My tummy was warm and felt good. I got completely humiliated in the mount off by going through a series of literally 9 mounts that I did not have until the Cliffside Wilderdrake popped up. And yeah, I had that wrong because it's basically impossible to have played the most recent expansion without having it. And that made me feel very special, definitely. I just want to say though that I love the mount off and how absolutely trolly it is. We've been seeing trading card game mounts pop up, store mounts, we've seen gladiator mounts pop up. I've seen the Swift Zulian Tiger, a mount which hasn't been available for the last 11 years. A mount so unavailable, it doesn't appear in my mount journal at all. I've seen that little shitbag at least 5 times, and I think this event and the exclamations of dismay from the players taking part in it as it happens capture everything the 20th anniversary was trying to go for perfectly. Players all together, having fun, celebrating their time in game. The mount off is a 10 out of 10. I liked Lorewalker Chow's story time, and the Transmog competition is still way too much work for my tiny brain, but I like that too. I like the little photo booth where we can get guild shots and stuff, although there should be more backgrounds, right? Like maybe famous raid bosses after being defeated, so we can all have pretend kill shots with them. That would be funny, but I like it, it's good. The other stuff though, the instance stuff, I am not quite so sold on. The new raid, Blackrock Depths, is probably the best of the instance content. It's fun in LFR just to see the old dungeon and how it's been revamped with new bosses, and I am looking forward to maybe going in there as a guild group later on, because by all accounts, it's pretty challenging on Heroic, even after the nerfs that happened within like 2 days of it going live. Unlike classic time-walking dungeons, which are unusually generously tuned, even for time walking. I did them on one of the lowest geared max level alts I have, where the scaling should have been as difficult as possible, and even then it was easy to a degree that honestly I wasn't even able to really enjoy the nostalgia of those runs, because we were just popping through those dungeons like a greased balloon. We weren't even touching the sides. So from a personal point of view, a bit disappointing to be honest, although I'm well aware not everyone's going to agree with me on that. Where I think everyone will agree with me though is on the Chromie Codex, which was billed as a return to the opening of the Gates of Anchorage. Oh, where to start this? Okay, you're not returning to the opening of the Gates of Anchorage. You get put in the instance, and you know, it's definitely in Anchorage. You are definitely there, for sure. But that's like if someone says, we are going to relive the Battle of Normandy, and then they just take you to a beach on Normandy. We were promised Saving Private Ryan. We got this statue put up by the French Tourist Board, which is nice, but it's not the same thing, is it? And I feel like this was such an easy brief. Put a bunch of people here, have some big gates, get a load of big-ass Egyptian-looking dudes to come out of them, do the pew-pew, pick up some loot, everyone's happy. Instead, we're queuing for half an hour because the instance insists on 3 tanks for some unknown inexplicable reason, because if ever there was class-agnostic content, it is this. And then most of the time, you're just flying around, following Chromie from spot to spot, killing a few mobs, and moving on. Sometimes you zoom around, collecting energy balls, and that's quite cool. Big fan of energy balls. And there is a little boss fight with an Egyptian dude at the end, but it's very weird, and it feels like there's only about 10 of you there, and like, I've seen pictures of the Gates of Anchorage. It was an absolute cluster of giant monsters and millions of players all running around at 11 FPS, which this is kind of the opposite of. And I know you can get hundreds of players all in one place breaking the game and melting their graphics cards, Blizz, because I've been to the theatre event in Dornagal. I've done Queen Ansarek with more than 20 people in the party. This is one time where that kind of thing would have actually been fun and fitting. You cop out and give us this instead. I do not like the Chromie Codex. I got more oldie-timey thrills from ringing the pretend Anchorage gong next to the NPC that you accept the quest off than anything in this instance. I don't know if the devs weren't given enough time or resources or got bad instruction, and honestly I'm sympathetic because I'm sure no one is happy with this. But honestly, the Chromie Codex of Crushing Disappointment isn't even what's wrong with the anniversary event, because what's wrong with the anniversary event and the way players are reacting the way they are is because after visiting on one character once, there's not really any other reason to visit again for another whole week. Because without those daily sources of bronze celebration tokens, which will be active for most people in the best part of a month, this is a one-stop weekly mild diversion, which is not what you want from a party for your best friend. This is more like a party for a work colleague from a different department where, you know, you swing by just to show your face before heading home again. I think it's obviously a huge mistake not to just just enable players to go absolutely ham on earning tokens and engaging with this content if they want to, because everyone wants to. This shit should be front-loaded. But right now, Blizz are playing into all the worst stereotypes and past criticisms of too many currencies and time-gated rewards, things which are getting players really fatigued. And it didn't have to be this way. The best thing Blizzard could do for next week is to make the token collector achievement pop at 50 tokens. So it activates next week. Add tokens to loads more activities on top of that, and basically let people play as much as they want and earn as many as they can bear. It's such a no-brainer, but honestly, even that isn't the real problem with the anniversary event. The real problem with the anniversary event, in my opinion, is that it is 11.0.5, because in terms of the amount of content and certainly the amount of rewards, it compares quite favorably to Dragonflight's 10.0.5, which gave us Primal Storm events. Remember those? No, me neither. But also the Trading Post and the Return of the Mage Tower, which is great. Evergreen content, granted. But all this anniversary stuff absolutely does compare. There isn't less. The problem here is that it doesn't feel like a War Within patch. Just like we worried about when it was announced, this event just feels disconnected from the expansion. Because it is. It has nothing to do with the War Within. So making this event basically the entirety of the patch's content makes it feel like a non-patch to a lot of people. A wasted patch, like one of the War Within's patches was replaced. Does that make sense? That's how it feels to me anyway. There are issues with some of this content and the weekly reward limits it imposes for sure, but added to that disconnection from the expansion it appears in, I think it's very likely this patch is going to go down as a failure, or at least a disappointment in the eyes of much of the community if changes aren't made. So yeah, I hope they do, and I hope the 11.1 announcement in a couple of weeks is an 11.1 announcement and not just a 0.7, or there might be trouble. From me, I'll be causing the trouble. I think it is important to end this segment on one last thing that I really like about the event. I really loved going round talking to the different characters there. You know, I'm a sucker for character lines, and these kept me entertained for ages. I liked it a lot. It made my tummy warm and nice, so thank you. So people are thoroughly whelmed with the anniversary event so far, but luckily War Within still has plenty of goodwill left after a very strong opening patch. So as long as Blizz doesn't do anything stupid between now and 10.0.7, as long as they just keep their heads down and don't do anything overly greedy or cash grabby or insanely exploitative, then we should be okay. Basically, as long as they don't, start selling a new brutosaur mount with auction house and mailbox on it for more than the cost of an entire expansion, then we should steer clear of any kind of a shit show, obviously. This is the most tone-deaf you all have been yet. Uh-oh. It's absolutely disgusting! Oh no. Shame on Blizzard for selling this, and shame on those who support it. Oh, they did it. What in the Bobby Kotick? Out of touch with the player base in mount form, or corporate greed, the mount. Absolutely shameful. Disgusting cash shop practices again. Where is your integrity? This mount is a slap in the face to the original Brutosaur mount holders. Thanks, Blizzard. Just a real slap in the face. Lamau, absolutely wild to drop this garbage during the worst patch of the worst expansion you've ever released. Hope every single one of y'all is fired. I'll spit on you if I drive past you begging on the streets. Holy shit. Okay, the first thing we're gonna say is, don't be this guy. Like, however long it's been since you last had sex, and I'm guessing quite long in this case, there's never any reason to be this guy, okay? But yes, Blizzard announced the Traders Gilded Brutosaur mount, a reskin of the original Longboy from BFA featuring the same auction house capability, but also a mailbox feature instead of the repair node of the BFA version. On the mount store and available for purchase right now for just $90 US. That's 60 pounds, 120 Australian dollars. And I know, I do this running joke on this show where every time I say the cost of something in different currencies, I say like a hilariously really large pretend number for the Australian dollars. But this is not a joke. That's the actual price of this store mount. And internet, people aren't happy.
Hi everyone, Evie here, and as ever, I am super excited to share that Squarespace is sponsoring today's video. Thank you, Squarespace, and not only for being a top-tier sponsor, but for giving me enough inspiration to wax lyrical about them every month. No, but seriously. Speaking of inspiration, I figured I would have a little browse through what all the cool kids are doing on Squarespace these days. Thankfully, Squarespace has an in-depth resources section to get you prepared and excited for your web building journey. So I had a look through Made with Squarespace to check out some websites that are exactly that, they're websites, and I noticed a trend towards kind of a minimal vibe. Now, if you're here, you probably know that our vibe tends to be a little more of a maximal slapdash graphic design is my passion, semi-ironic millennial neon kind of thing. But I thought, hey, how hard could it be to make our site a little more minimal? I had a look through the handy template library, and while I love the pure text experience, I chose one with like 2 images on it and toned the palette right down using site styles. Actually editing the page was a breeze, from desaturating the life right out of existing images or using the stock image library to use extremely basic yet highly relevant images to tell the world what we're really about. After some simple tweaks, I think we're pretty much there. It's the essence of simplicity. It is the purest distillation of who we really are. Wait, something's been bothering me for ages. Let me just... There we go. Who names their channel Taliesin and Evitel anyway? So there you go, a total rebrand, an instant vibe recalibration, and all done in minutes with the help of Squarespace. Itching to go back to basics? Just head to squarespace.com/TaliesinEvitel, where you can enjoy 10% off your first purchase of a Squarespace website or domain, or just use code TaliesinEvitel if you want to put yourself through typing all that out. That's squarespace.com/TaliesinEvitel. Hey, Tally, check out our new site.
It's just a blank page.
Minimalism.
But before I talk about this mount, I need to lay down some ground rules like I always do when I talk about store mounts. 1. My personal view is I shouldn't have to pay for extra content in a subscription game, and that all content created for the game should be included in the price of my sub or expansion cost. 2. I understand that WoW's shop is very tame compared to other MMOs, even really good MMOs like Final Fantasy XIV, and that is important context. 3. You will never hear me giving any shade or judgment to people who buy stuff from the store. All my frustration is directed towards Blizzard, and even then, the people that run Blizzard and make these decisions, never the devs and never on other players, because you're all grown-ups, you should buy stuff that you want. It's not on you, and if you ever spat on anyone in game for riding a mount, then you should be very ashamed of yourself, because you are a idiot. 4. Every Battle.net shop item comes with an asterisk next to the price because thanks to the WoW token, you can buy anything on the store with in-game gold, meaning that nothing there can only be bought exclusively with IRL cash. There is always an in-game option, and that is honestly very consumer friendly and has muddied and relaxed my objection to the cash shop in recent years, like the last 10 years or whatever it's been. So with all of those ground rules in mind, let me say, holy shit, this stinks. And let's be clear, okay? I am a proud OG Longboy owner. I worked very hard during BFA to earn the 5 million gold needed to buy it at the time, and I remain very pleased with myself because that shit does not come naturally to me. But I have no problem with there being another auction house mount for people to use. I'm glad there is, in fact, and I'm glad it's not the exact same mount either. I'm glad it's visually different so that mine is still recognizable. I'm gonna be straight with here, and this will be controversial. I don't even care about the price. $90 dues is clearly an obscene amount of money, but those who can afford it will pay it, and those who can't can still buy it with in-game gold, considerably less than the 5 million the OG Longboy cost, incidentally. WoW token prices have shot up since this mount launched, obviously, even selling out for a time, so it looks like you should be able to get it for around 2 to 3 million gold, depending on your region. Probably a lot cheaper the longer the event goes on. And this is going to be on the store until January the 6th, the end of the anniversary event. No, the reason I think this stinks is because for me, it's a mount that goes way beyond the cosmetic and very firmly into the genuine game feature, quality of life, pay-to-win area that I find very distasteful. And I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts and emotions with regards to that statement, and I want to be clear, I'm simply giving my opinion here. Yours may be different. That's okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just telling you how I consider it. So you might say, but Tally, you could buy the long boy with real money just by buying WoW tokens and exchanging them for gold. How is this different? And it's different because the long boy was an in-game item where you could kind of cheat and get it with real money. This is a shop item where the cheat is to get it with in-game gold. That might seem like a small difference to you, but I feel like it's an important one, a significant one. And you might still say, there is no difference, Tally, to which I would say, fine, if there's no difference, put it in-game like the original long boy and not on the store then, since there's no difference. You might say, but Tally, it's not pay to win, it's just quality of life. And that's true, but I think quality of life improvements are part of the win state for WoW, or any MMO, or any game where you level or improve on your base toolkit. Half the work you do in this game has always been about making the game easier to play. From earning your first mount, to unlocking flying, to being good at crafting, to getting faster flying and unlocking flight points and teleports. So for me, this definitely does come under that heading. You may feel different. That's fine. What I hope we can all agree on, that this is not just a cosmetic item, which is what we all agreed made the store just about acceptable before, that it only sold cosmetic items. And you might say, well then Tally, that means that the pack bear mount is also pay to win. Checkmate. To which I would say, yeah, it is actually, but at least that has the same functionality as a mount that exists in game and which you can buy for I think 20,000 gold. Not only is the new long boy the only obtainable auction house mount in the game right now, it is the only mount ever to have a mailbox on it. This is better than my original OG Longboy in my opinion, and its functionality is completely unique. There is nothing else that can do for you what this $90 mount can. And at the end of the day, look, I've got a ton of gold since Warbands. I bought this with my gold. I'm very glad to have it. It's really cool and super useful. And you know, on a meta level, I'm up for WoW making a shit ton of money because I like WoW and I want to keep playing it and I want Microsoft to keep it running. Their CEO just gave himself a 60% pay rise to $150 million a year after all. It's gotta come from somewhere. Oh look, it wasn't just Kotick. All CEOs suck because their job is to make money for shareholders, not make good games or treat staff who make the games like human beings. I am genuinely happy for the players that are thrilled about this mount and thrilled that it's on the shop so they can just buy it. I know people love these mounts being on the store for giveaways or presents for friends or just because they're grown-ups who, this will sound weird to some of you, but it is a thing, genuinely enjoy spending money on their hobby. And if that described any of you, I do not begrudge you this at all, despite my own personal feelings on the bigger picture. And look, let's be real, if the anniversary patch had been better received and people were in a better mood, like I'm sure Blizzard thought they would be right now, then the negative reaction would be nowhere near as big. But yeah, it is a massive cash grab, it is a beautiful mount, you should buy it if you want it, and you are allowed to still be angry with Blizz for putting it in the shop. The duality of man doesn't stop me thinking War Within is an absolute banger expansion so far, because I don't actually count this as part of the game really, it's like the dirty little hustle on the side. I really hope 11.1 looks good, you know? And that, internet, was Blizzard's bad week. Oh, I'm ready for a much happier time next episode. What do you say? But what do you think of the anniversary event? I've seen loads of people say that they really like it too, by the way. Maybe you're one of them, or maybe you are one of the completely underwhelmed. Let us know in the comments below. And thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, don't thank us, thank our patrons for giving us their actual real life money to make all of our work happen. And patrons, seriously, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Satya Nadella. No, I'm much richer than him. My name is Taliesin from me and Evitel. Until next time, cheerio.